I will now formally denounce and say I have zero love for Adolf Hitler. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Down Once More with Rayleigh and Matt. Today, we are going to be discussing Tick, Tick, Boom, the Lin-Manuel Miranda directed movie that is out on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, recommend you go watch it. If not, feel free to hop in with us. Now, before we get started, I want us to start with, we're going to do kind of a revamped of, we tried out a new segment last time, vocal warm-ups. I didn't love how it went, but I want to still do something like that. So we've revamped it. What we're going to do, each of us has 60 seconds to discuss 3 things. It can be something we recommend, something we want to vent about, something we want to get off our chest. But the only rules are it has to be 3 things, and you only get 60 seconds total. So I am going to make Rayleigh go first today and kick us off. And Rayleigh, let me know when you want me to start. This is how we're going to kick off the podcast. So no pressure, but you got to make it good. Otherwise, we're going
right now.
We're going to lose listeners in the first 2 minutes. So usually I do that. So now I'm putting it on you.
That's your role. So, taking it over.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You got my 3 things? Yeah.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Set. Go.
Okay. Number 1. I have an Instant Pot. I don't know if anybody has that or if you've ever heard of it, but it's this giant like soup thingy, and it creates, you can like air fry in it, you can boil, you can cook casseroles or whatever in it. And I haven't used it yet, but legit I'm terrified because I saw all these videos of people complaining about their Instant Pot like blowing up in their kitchen. So if you used one, please leave a comment here and let me know how it went, because I do not want to blow up my kitchen, but I want to use it. That's 1. 2, pet peeve, total pet peeve of mine. I went to 2 comedy shows here in Miami in the last, oh my God, only 20 seconds, in the last 2 weeks. And no one in Miami laughs. They're so stuck up. They don't have any sense of humor. They sit there in a comedy show and they're like, oh, this is boring. And I'm over here busting my ass, like laughing crazy. So it drives me nuts that I had to sit there and do that because I'm the only one laughing. That's not fair to comedians. Number 3, there's a ghost in my new house, and that just almost fell on my face before we started recording. And it was there, and then it was there, and I'm not touching it because there's a ghost here. It's a new house, and I'm scared.
Time. Nice. This is good. Good wrap up. I can confirm the ghost thing. I was really regretting that we weren't already rolling because it was so random and so loud and so jarring. Also, I'm going to make people still comment, but I will say I've had an Instant Pot and I have not managed to blow anything up yet. So
maybe the people who are blowing things up are just like, I don't know, dumb, but I don't know. But it's happened to a lot of people. That's what I keep seeing. Is like, beware the Instant Pot. Yeah. It is a pressure cooker, so I understand if you don't let the pressure out, it's probably going to blow.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't hear from me in the next week or 2, it's probably because I died from an Instant Pot explosion.
That's right. DM us your favorite Instant Pot air fryer recipes, because during COVID, I feel like that blew up too. So DM them to us on our Instagram or Twitter, and maybe eventually we'll make Rayleigh do a cooking video and see her try to blow everything up.
I'll just do it with in the kitchen while we're recording, and I'll be singing the song from Little Mermaid, the chef in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
That's gonna be my whole segment. We just singing like a French chef in Little Mermaid.
I like it. Fun fact on that side note, Bunny Trail, and they did a live stage Little Mermaid thing Disney did, and John Stamos was the chef and Shaggy was Sebastian. So fun fact.
Shaggy, really?
Yeah. And they're doing a live action.
Like, I would give up my entire life for him. So and he once reposted one of my stories about him. I saw the Beach Boys in concert on the beach, 4th of July 2 years ago, and he was playing with them. And I did not know
Yes.
he was going to be playing with him. He's an amazing, oh my God, he's an amazing artist. He plays guitar, he plays drums, he got up there and danced and everything. And I was like, oh, it's my hero. I love him so much. And then he sang a really his wife and kid, and I was like, I kill you. That was really sweet. And then I shared a story about him and tagged him, and he shared it and said he loved my enthusiasm.
Nice. I've had
He's
a
to live his life
few
now.
I've had a few DMs back and forth with minor celebrities and decent celebrities that are in TV shows, but that's the closest I've got. A podcast reshares my stories, and I've been on KFC Radio's video voicemails before, but that's about my extent of claim to fame. Yeah. All right.
Okay, your turn.
I have two things planned. We'll see as we go what the third is.
You just make the rules and say it has to be 3 things and it has to be like.
Oh, I'm gonna have a third one. We'll see what comes to me in the moment. Yeah. Keep it some mystery, even from myself.
I'm gonna yeah. Oh my God, I can't keep looking at it. I'm sorry.
I like the ghost paintings laughing at you too, so it's actually really perfect. It's like
oh my God, Ray Charles is so angry and so scary now.
Yeah. And see, this is why you need to watch it on YouTube, so you know what the fuck we're talking about right now.
Yeah, true.
True.
That's right. If you're listening to this, there is a beautiful painting of Ray Charles over my piano, and I saw it as smiling and wonderful and happy Ray Charles, and now he's turned it into this like eerie, creepy ghost thing that's staring down at me. That's probably going to attack me before the end of this podcast episode. Stay tuned. Right. Okay, are you ready?
Throat. Yes.
Good.
All right. Number 1, I'm going to give a shout out and plug to everyone who has a dishwasher, which hopefully you do, because doing dishes by hand sucks. The Finish Powerball Quantum dishwasher pods are the best thing ever. You used to have to end up hand washing dishes after they came out of the dishwasher. No more. So, pro tip to all of you adults out there doing fucking dishes. Second, shit, that took 30 seconds too. Second, I said I'm gonna plug How I Met Your Father. Just finished the season 1 finale. It is on Hulu, and it's not really a continuation, but kind of How I Met Your Mother, and it has Hilary Duff, which has been my number 1 celebrity crush for like 15 years. Seconds. So plug that as well. And then the third thing, the Mean Girls Broadway soundtrack is actually really good. Been listening to that recently. Highly recommend it. That's my third thing. We'll end.
And Harry Potter shutting you down.
Do you not have your phone on silent?
Yeah, it's on silent. That's an alarm.
Okay. Yeah, my alarm. Maybe it's because I have an Apple Watch. It just vibrates on there. It doesn't make audible noise most of the time. So yeah. That
dishwasher, totally random. That's hilarious. But
I did dishes before I came down here. Started it.
Focus on your brain. Yeah. I finally have a dishwasher in my apartment. I don't know how many apartments I've lived in without a dishwasher, because apparently that's the thing that do in Miami. You don't have washers and dryers, which I've already covered, I believe, in an episode before this, maybe, that we kept. I'm not sure. They don't have those, and they don't have dishwashers. So people in Miami just do what do we do? How do we clean things? It's very inconvenient to stay clean in the city, and that's maybe why there's such an unwashed mass of people here. But anyway, I have a dishwasher, and so now I'm exploring what it feels like to not have to hand wash dishes, and it's glorious.
It is glorious, unless you have shitty dishwasher tabs and dishwasher detergent that leaves your dishes still dirty, or you still have to fully rinse them and basically hand wash them before you put them in. So that's why I gave the shout out. So not sponsored.
Quantum physics is the name of it. I'm pretty sure you said that.
Finish Powerball Quantum.
It's just a lot of random words together, but okay, cool.
It really is. Also, extra bonus shout out to Whistle Pig Whiskey. They have their Roadstock Rye. Has this really cool.
That's a tire
cap. Yeah, it's actually rubber too, and it's delicious. So extra shout out there. Sponsor us. We have 20 viewers, so money well spent.
You're welcome.
All right. I kind of like that because I like the chaos of having to find a way to fit three things in a minute.
Get cranked up super fast. Go, 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 go.
Yeah. And see, even if you don't like musicals, we offer good knowledge. So we want to build a community of how not to blow yourself up.
Just for you.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
That's
so
it. We should get into it, yes.
Yeah, let's get into Tick Tick Boom. Rayleigh, take us away with the kind of the synopsis.
Okie dokie. Tick Tick Boom. So I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna read it. The film follows John, who's played by Andrew Garfield, a young theater composer who's waiting tables at a New York City diner in 1990 while writing what he hopes will be the next great American musical. Days before he's due to showcase his work in a make-or-break performance, John is feeling the pressure from everywhere. From his girlfriend Susan, who dreams of an artistic life beyond New York City. From his friend Michael, who has moved on from his dream to a life of financial security, amidst an artistic community being ravaged by the AIDS epidemic. With the clock ticking, tick, 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 boom, John is at a crossroads and faces a question everyone must reckon with. What are we meant to do with the time we have? Boom.
Boom. Well, there you have it.
Okay.
So before we get into the movie itself, this has been briefly mentioned in other ones. Tick Tick Boom was my favorite musical that came out in 2021, which is saying something because I'd been looking forward to it, but I didn't think it was going to be my top few because in 2021, we got Dear Evan Hansen, which had been one of my favorite soundtracks for a long time. We got In the Heights, which was also one of my favorite soundtracks. We also got the West Side Story remake, retelling. And so
musicals.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there were the animated ones like Encanto and Vivo and stuff like that. But Tick Tick Boom was the top of the list for me. I'd listened to that soundtrack some, but the movie, I was just really impressed with how well it was done. Some of the additions they did, that was all still Jonathan Larson's work in music, how they kind of did some new arrangements and revamped some of the songs to take advantage of the full band and everything they had at their disposal. It came out top for 2021 for me. And I think it is definitely in my top 5 musicals ever as well. So
a lofty title to hand it.
Yeah. So where did this one kind of fall for you? I don't know if you've seen all of those 2021 ones or any of them yet.
No, I have not. I have seen the animated ones, and I've watched.
Makes sense.
I've watched the first. I think I got 10 minutes into Dear Evan Hansen, and I had to leave or something, so I couldn't finish it. But I liked it, whatever I saw of it, and I had never listened to the soundtrack. So no, the answer is no. But as far as musicals go, I think this one for me, I didn't really know anything about it until it came out, until I started hearing about it. And then because it's the same guy who did Rent, or it's about the guy who wrote Rent, I thought this was going to be an amazing epic thing that's kind of sort of similar to Rent, which it is. But it's an unpopular opinion, but this is not really my favorite musical. It kind of loses its oomph for me, and I'm not sure why. I can't really pinpoint if there's something that bothers me about it, or if I just don't connect to it for some reason. But maybe some moments, and I want to talk about the great things about it that I think are awesome. But for me, it's just meh. My overall take on it is meh.
Yeah,
so it's good. I like Lin-Manuel Miranda, so I know it's going to be good music. I know it's going to be lyrics that are awesome and done well. But
yeah.
But I was surprised Andrew Garfield can sing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
He actually has a very good voice. That surprised me.
That was the thing when he was cast. Lin-Manuel Miranda asked his agent that, he's like, "So can he sing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he can do that." And Andrew met with him and couldn't really, but he took lessons, worked with people, and to get things right and to be able to sing. And I thought he crushed it. And he's been nominated, this movie in general, with whether it's Lin-Manuel Miranda for directing it or Andrew Garfield. It's been nominated for quite a few awards, and it's won a handful, none of the big ones yet. But it's when you see, because one of the things with this, I completely get where you're coming from too, because I feel like as far as musicals go, this is one of the more scaled down ones. It is a very condensed, smaller focus. It doesn't have the grand feel that a musical like Phantom of the Opera has, or
Or Les Mis, where you have like hundreds of cast members in Les
yeah,
Mis. Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably part of it. It's small scale, but Hamilton was small scale too.
yeah. I
I
think
didn't feel
another
that way
thing,
about Hamilton.
yeah, I feel like Tick Tick Boom is even, it's very, well, I said it's one of my favorite. It's very artsy and kind of niche too, because the
Yeah.
premise of this is Jonathan Larson, Andrew Garfield's character, is on stage telling this story, one like a 3-person play monologue type thing, and then it cuts in parts of their life. So it's kind of like a musical play within a musical movie
Yes.
as well. And
I
so I feel
wrote
like
that
that
down
can
in my
be
notes.
jarring.
I wrote down in my notes. Musicception,
Yeah,
Inception for a
yeah,
musical, Musicception,
yeah.
musical within a musical.
And that's because this was adapted.
You
So
do that fast.
originally, you give some history on the thing itself, because I think it's really interesting. Because I first heard about this when I was watching the documentary about Jonathan Larson and the making of Rent, that was from Rent, that was called No Day But Today. And they talked about how Jonathan Larson had been working on this play. Tick Tick Boom was one of the first ones they did. And so what happened? It started out as just a one-man rock monologue that Jonathan Larson did in 1990. So it was just him. It was solo. He did it in a few different stints and performed it, reworked it some. And then once he
Talking
passed
about
away,
Tick Tick Boom or the production that he's doing in Tick Tick Boom?
well, so when he first did it, it started out called Boho Days, is the
Okay.
rock monologue that he did. Then when
Okay.
he passed away in 1996, um, some people, it was revised by David Auburn, was the person's name, who was a friend of his, and they revived it as a 3-actor performance and adjusted the book a little more for it to be a 3-person story, and used different actors, and the female that did Susan, and then Caressa and everything, and then the guy who played Michael, and added some more story structure to that. And then it had some off Broadway runs, some West End runs. At one point, in it was in the 2000, what was it? I think the 2014, Lin-Manuel Miranda played Jonathan Larson in it, and Leslie Odom Jr. played Michael, played that
Oh,
role. And also in that, it also had,
that being good.
what was her name? I've seen some clips from it, and it was bad. I mean, we know how we feel about Lin-Manuel Miranda singing clips,
Yes.
and I would take Andrew Garfield over it. But
Any day.
yes, and it
Okay.
also, and the female
Every day.
roles was played by Karen Olivo, or Olivo, however you say her last name. Um, and she was the one who originated the role of Vanessa in The Heights, Jonathan. I mean, Lin-Manuel's first play. So it had a couple runs. There was also a run in London where Neil Patrick Harris played Jonathan Larson, and I found a video of that on YouTube that was very interesting. But in like a good way. It's just I wasn't expecting to see it when I was Googling and trying to find some
I can definitely
performances.
see that being pretty
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah. And so uh, it had some different history. The original, I actually today watched on YouTube a bootleg version of a 2001 performance of it. So shortly after it was revamped and did some of the off Broadway things. It is very interesting. It has a couple extra songs in it. It also subtracts some of the storyline and a few of the songs. And I don't know. Excuse me, they actually, I feel like I preferred the movie but the play, it felt differently because the movie had the play within it, and so it had all the other
Yeah.
avenues, and it had some of the more
Yeah.
autobiographical elements, so to speak. So I don't know, it just a lot of interesting things with that, and it has a very interesting history that I feel like it's one that if you're a theater or a musical nerd, you'll probably enjoy it more than someone who's not. That makes sense.
That's probably the case for any musical.
I mean,
Any
true.
musical is going to be liked more by a musically
But
loving person than not.
oh, yeah, but I feel like
I feel
this one
like that kind of goes
especially
without saying.
because of the musicalception, so to speak. Like you're watching a musical about a musical is going to be more than like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know
I
what
like
the
it.
fuck I'm trying to say.
But no, I know, I got you. I got you. I think part of the reason it works so well in the movie is because the show on stage that he's doing, he's narrating a lot of the scenes of his life, but then
Yeah.
in the movie you get to actually visually see them acted out and see them happening. So it's probably just a little bit more compelling in terms of you don't have to imagine those scenes as he's narrating on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them and they're acting out. And I think Andrew Garfield did an amazing job with the character, with the music, with the acting. I think I wasn't really, I guess I'd never expected Spider-Man to be Jonathan Larson. So, and I wasn't a fan of him as Spider-Man. So I had kind of low expectations for him. And that's sad to say, but he killed it. And I think I'm also not a huge fan of Vanessa Hudgens, but you know what? In this, she was great. She did a good job. She's got an awesome voice, obviously, but I don't know. I thought she was more relatable in this than I've seen her in anything else. And just kind of like quirky and cute and, not annoying. So,
I mean, she was really good in Bad Boys 3, but yeah. And actually,
anything good about Bad Boys 3? I didn't know there was.
Yeah, it came out a couple years ago, and it was actually really good. I really liked it. So another plug, but yeah, Andrew Garfield. Actually, I liked him better than Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Fun fact.
Oh, he was also in what, The Social Network? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he was in Social Network, and he was in a movie about. Yeah, he's in some war movie called Hacksaw Ridge, too. He's been in a lot of things, but he was in this, especially if you look at video of Jonathan Larson doing the stage performance, doing that solo one-man show, the Boho Days, and everything. It is just, he really captures his mannerisms, his facial expressions when he's playing the piano, and it is so impressive. So that's why I feel
his head around, like, he just like this little fluffy hair that like flops around on top of his head.
I was tempted to do that with my hair for the recording today, but
you should have. I dressed for the part. I'm dressed in like full 90s, like went with like the crop top and like the choker and like the.
But look at how long my hair is right now.
In honor of Tick Tick Boom, because it was set in the 90s.
Like, if I tried to do that, I would look like that one dude from Street Fighter that just has the straight up.
I was gonna say Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, that too.
Or Johnny Bravo.
I could do a solid mohawk, faux hawk right now. Yeah, I remember Johnny Bravo.
Hey, pretty mama.
That's what my pecs look like, Johnny Bravo. So, yeah, but yeah, I hope Andrew Garfield gets more recognition for it. I would love to see him win some of the major awards for his performance in it, because I feel like with the singing and with how well he captured those mannerisms, that adaptation is just, I don't know that you can get much better than that. I don't think you will. One, it was a Netflix film. One, it's like, without the comparisons, it's a very interesting performance and stuff. So it's not going to resonate the same. You're like, he was fine, did a good job in the role. But I don't know.
Side-by-side comparison of like Jonathan Larson on stage playing the piano, and Andrew Garfield on the stage playing the exact same song at the exact same time, wearing the exact same outfit. It's kind of crazy how similar it is. He must have just like studied those videos over and over and over again to like match match exactly what he did when he did it. Like flop, his head's crazy, he's doing his arm like this, and he gets up and like the microphone right here. I talk like this.
Yeah.
It's awesome. If you haven't seen the Jonathan Larson part of it, you might just think like he's just being like a quirky character.
Yeah.
But once you've seen Larson do it, you're like, oh no, he is literally doing exactly what Larson did on stage. I thought he did a great job. And that's no small task to completely mimic someone else's awesomeness, I guess.
Yeah. And the other thing, like we kind of the last episode shit on, or 2 episodes ago, shit on Lin-Manuel's Miranda's singing in Hamilton. Jonathan Larson, also not a great voice when he was singing, but it's one of those things. You have the passion, you have the emotion, you have that kind of rawness, that realness to it. And his like Jonathan Larson never really wanted to be the performer as much. He wanted to be the creator, the writer. Yeah. Exactly.
He's the writer. He wanted to, he was, what did he call him? He calls himself the future of the American musical. What is it? What does he say?
I'm the
what do you do? I'm the future of the great American musical, or something like that. Like
something like that. I'm the
believed in himself. And what's sad is he had so much talent.
Bro.
What?
He says that to the finance bro. The party.
I love going to artist parties, man. All the best drugs are here. He's like, yeah, great, cool. Who are you?
Yeah.
What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying.
Just kind of how he viewed himself, I think. And
yes,
musical.
I don't know, whatever I was saying, but he had so much confidence in himself and like knew that he was gonna do. That's what I was saying. It's super sad because he really was super creative and confident in his work and talented, and he wrote and created Rent, which is one of the best musicals ever in the history of musicals.
Yeah.
And he died before anybody could like give him the recognition really that he deserved. I mean, he wrote all this, did such a great job, and like he really did change the world of musicals, but he was already gone by the time people appreciated it. So he left it behind for us, but he never got to see like the fruits of those labors, or see his creativity really come to life on a huge scale. And like I said, Rent is one of my favorite of all times. I personally loved about Tick, Tick, Boom that they did include so many references to Rent.
Oh yeah.
Because not only is the lifestyle almost identical, like he wrote Rent based off of his life in New York City. So the fact that Tick, Tick, Boom is also based on his life in New York City, they mesh together almost like seamlessly. You see them going through the same things, they have the same experiences, they're in the same world, they're in the AIDS epidemic, and the gay guy, his gay roommate gets AIDS, and obviously, in Rent, half the characters have HIV or AIDS. And there's so many, like, with their fun little snippets, little nuggets that if you know Rent as well as you and I do, you see them immediately, you recognize them, you're like, that was Rent. Get it. Like, talking about, I love it when they're doing, what's the song called? No More.
Yeah. Michael's apartment.
Talking about all the like shitty things that they've been dealing with in life, and like, no more throwing keys down because the building doesn't have a buzzer, which they did for Tom Collins. Mark and Roger did for Collins in Rent. And then what else? So and then
they have Michael.
Also have really random what?
Oh no, you go ahead. I don't want to get in trouble.
Go.
I was just gonna say, like, John and Michael's voicemail message is the exact same one that Roger and Mark had in Rent.
Is Mark's last name Larson in Rent? Is he Mark Larson?
No, Mark Cohen.
Oh, Mark Cohen. Why did I think it was Lawson? I don't know.
Mark Cohen, Alexi Darling. I don't remember it. They also had in Tick, Tick, Boom. So there were tons of nods to Rent beyond, like, you hear it in some of the songs, like No More has a feel that feels like it would fit in Rent.
It's almost identical in like melody and sound as the song Rent in the beginning of Rent.
And there's at the beginning of Sunday, there are some piano
Oh,
notes
just about
to
the
open
time.
that up. That sounds like the opening to La Vie Boheme. And then there's in the Tick Tick Boom movie when Jonathan's talking about when he's visiting his friend in the hospital and he's talking about the other people they've lost to HIV and everything. He says Pam, Sue, Gordon, Allie, which are all names of people in the life support meeting in Rent when they're going through and
I
introducing
missed that
themselves and
one.
saying their names.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Gordon is one of my favorite characters in Rent, even though he has like
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
singing lines. His voice is amazing. So he's one of my favorite parts of Rent.
Which
And
actually, let me look this up now while we're doing it.
the
But
song Sunday, though, while you're looking that up, the song Sunday also struck me because when I listened to it recently, like I went back and watched it again recently, so I could be up, fresh and on my knowledge here. But as I was listening to Sunday, which is one of my favorite songs in the movie Tick Tick Boom, it's visually super cool to see the diner and how they slow everything down and go in slow motion, and the music's cool. But I realized when I heard it, it reminded me of something. I couldn't figure out what it was, and then it hit me. It's in Hamilton, which obviously LMM did both of them. But the song is it's right when the war started. It's, I forget what they say, British general something has troops in the water.
Oh, yeah.
32,000 troops in New York Harbor.
I forget what the name of that song is. I know. Yeah.
Sunday. Da-na-na, da-na-na,
it does kind of sound like that.
It sounds exactly the same, especially like the whispery voices. The melody is almost the same. So if you listen to them back to back, you'd be like, that's a really similar melody. Just like the song Rent and the song No More, I think same instruments, same tempo, same style, same kind of grungy rock sound.
Yeah.
With like a lot of spoken words rather than sung, na 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 na. That's from Rent.
Yeah.
And also, no more da 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 no more da, da. Like, that's how it sounds like. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it sounds like. So all of you don't have to watch the musical now because I just acted it out for you.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was gonna say
lost over there, so
no. What I was looking up, I was wrong because I thought the guy who plays Gordon in Rent looks very similar to one of the guys that is in the workshop of Superbia in Tick Tick Boom. So I was looking up if it was the same one. It's not. So it doesn't fucking matter. But yeah, that's what the thing that the song Sunday, Jonathan Larson wrote as an homage to Stephen Sondheim, who's one of his greatest inspirations from his, it was called like Sunday in the Park, something Sunday with so-and-so. It was a Stephen Sondheim play that I had not seen or heard of before, but that's where he got that inspiration. It was supposed to be kind of a humorous nod to that. Since we're jumping all over the place, but the voice
of nods to his other ones, though, he's got another nod. I just like thought it was awesome that Angelica and Eliza from Hamilton show up in the diner right before that song starts. And if you haven't seen it, you just think that like there's two random girls that they focus on their faces for like a little too long. If it was just like random strangers, extras, they wouldn't have been featured like that. But if you know who they are, then you're like, hey, hey girl, hey, it's Angelica, Eliza. Peggy's not there. Peggy's not invited.
No Peggy. There is also
little cameos there left and right with obviously LMM's favorite people on earth because he keeps using them over and over again. And why wouldn't he? Because they're amazingly talented. I would put them in too. But
and so LMM.
I know what you did there.
Yeah. So it also has the original Adam Pascal, Daphne Rubin Vega, and to look up his name because on the Rant episode we didn't shout out his name and I felt bad. The guy who plays Angel, who is Wilson Jermaine Heredia.
Movie Angel or Broadway Angel?
Well, he was both. He was the one in the movie and he was also the original one from Broadway. But they also have a cameo in Sunday. They show up during that. So that's a nice nod. In Sunday, there's so many Broadway people. There's Cheetah Rivera, Bernadette Peters. There's Joel Grey, who was the wizard in Wicked originally, and he also originated the MC in Cabaret. And there's a couple people from Hadestown. One of the guys, Howard McGillen, who is the second longest run of Phantom on Broadway. Fun fact. Is in there. So it's just a ton of Broadway people. They peppers in there.
A bunch of really cool, famous people in there.
And himself.
So low key to do it that way and just be like, it's no big deal. Like I have all these friends who are famous Broadway actors and singers.
Right.
Like throw them all on the scene and just act like they're just regular people.
Yeah.
They're not regular people. They're way better than us.
And Lin-Manuel Miranda is kind of becoming the Adam Sandler of things he directs, because he just wants his friends, his core group, he throws them and finds roles for them too.
So true. That's a perfect comparison. Adam Sandler does that. You see the same like four dudes.
Adam Sandler's movies are just an excuse to go on vacations with his friends. Like he's even basically admitted it. Like the deal he has with Netflix. It's like, oh yeah, you can pay me millions of dollars. That's why he always wants to go to tropical locations.
Africa. Like just chill in Africa for 6 months while you film this movie. No big deal.
Like this movie is dog shit. It makes no fucking sense. And he's like,
awful.
Yeah, that's right. I got paid millions of dollars to do this, and I got a vacation with my buddies. What
all
now?
My friends came along and we just partied the whole time. It was great.
Yeah. Well, because Christopher Jackson, who played George Washington in Hamilton, also has a cameo in this at the very end performance. He walks into the building of Tick, Tick, Boom. And the guy who plays Michael in the movie was the actor who originated the role of Sonny in Lin-Manuel's play In the Heights on Broadway.
Oh, that's cool.
So they have, so they have a connection too from there. So I think Lin likes to the people that he's worked with and that he's enjoyed working with. He keeps throwing them roles. Yeah,
he totally has favorites.
Which I can't blame him. I get it.
Well, they're also my favorites too. So thanks.
Yeah. Well, and this was his, if I remember right, this was his first just kind of directorial debut. Like he's written things and performed things. This was his first directorial one. And I feel like he crushed it. I feel like visually, for like how small scale and what it is to work with, everything was done super well. I feel like No More is a fantastic sequence, how they do the cutting back and forth.
And they have this awesome like dance choreography. They're like in their tuxedos, like ballroom dancing, and there's confetti and like slow motion. It's just really cute and fun. Like it's so quirky. And there's another moment in the movie that is really funny because it's like this huge juxtaposition when Susan and John are in their like major fight, because Susan is saying, I want to take a teaching job and I want to move away from New York. And John is like, yeah, but my life is in New York and I have to finish this play that I'm working on and I can't exactly leave. And he's kind of like throwing her nothing to work with. And so she gets upset and they fight, right? But in the middle of the fighting scene is one of the funniest, weirdest songs I've ever seen in a musical. And it's, what is it called? It's called
Therapy.
Yes, Therapy. So Vanessa Hudgens and Andrew Garfield on stage are just like really quirky and hilarious, and like I know that you know how does it go? I feel bad that you feel bad.
I'm not mad that you got mad when I got mad when you said I should go drop dead. Yeah, they crush that with their facial expressions,
right? And she's like,
he's just like
in the middle, and you keep cutting back and forth between this like really, in any other show or movie or whatever, would be a super emotional scene, like heartbreak, like she's breaking up with him and he's losing everything, his play's not going right, he's running away from him, she's upset, he's upset, they're fighting, but meanwhile he does such a good job of like that weird juxtaposition, makes it like almost like, what am I watching right now? It's jarring.
Well, yeah, and during that whole scene, I feel like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't comment on it because whatever, but I feel like you're torn. You're like, I don't know whose side I want to be on right now. Because at the same time, he's very obviously, she's second. Like his work is his main priority.
100%.
He is not giving her attention. He's not validating her feelings, the things she's saying that's important. He doesn't give a
He's
fuck.
being a
He's
complete asshole,
focused.
sure.
He's focused on this one thing. But then there's one part in the argument where he's like, I can't leave my work. I can't leave New York. And she's like, I know that. I didn't want you to. And he's just like,
what do you want from
What
me?
do you want? And I get that.
I do.
Yeah. Like he's just like, it's like ultimately he's in the wrong in this. Just say that. I'm gonna say that so I don't
you have to know like he's being an asshole. No matter how much you want to work, no matter how passionate you are, you're an asshole. Okay.
You have to at least validate the feelings and try to put yourself in their shoes and understand.
He wouldn't even sit down and have a conversation with her about it. Like he refuses to like talk.
Well, that's the other interesting thing with the movie version versus the play version. In the play version, their whole arguments and disagreements is because Susan sees him with Caressa, who's Vanessa Hudgens' character in the Superbia. They sing a song about, they bump into each other at the convenience store when he's going to buy Twinkies, and they bond over their love of Twinkies. And that is the song Sugar, that is cut from the movie version, but they reference it in when he's talking to Ira, the head of the studio he's putting on the workshop, and he starts singing. He's like, sugar, she's refined for a small price, she blows my mind, and he's like singing that there to him.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So that's part of that song that they cut, because the actual song is just Jonathan's going to get a pick-me-up. He's going to get a Twinkie, like it's a shameful act, he says. And the song sounds like it could be a euphemism for like a hooker or sex, because it starts with, she can be white, she can be brown, she's always easy, going down, going down. She don't care what I look like or how I dress. She never says no, always says yes. And then it's, oh, sugar, she's refined for a small price, she blows my mind. And sugar, she's got the power, soothes my soul for half an hour. And then like Caressa, they run into it. And so
but he's singing, because I haven't seen this version, so is he singing this song to Caressa?
No, so it starts out he's singing,
it's about Twinkies, but like
he's singing by himself when he's going to get a sugar pick-me-up to get Twinkies. Then he bumps into Caressa and is like embarrassed to get Twinkies. He's like, getting Twinkies is like shameful, it's junk food or whatever. And he talks about how Caressa is so beautiful, but that's not why he cast her in it, and blah blah blah. And he wants to look impressive for her, and then she sees the Twinkies. He's like, oh, Twinkies, I love them. Then they have a moment, and then they leave and they're walking together, and Susan sees it, and
stay away from my man.
Susan's packing to leave when he gets there, and he's like, what? She's like, who was the girl you walked with? You kissed her. He's like, I kissed her on the cheek, she's the cast member, blah blah blah, the whole thing. And then there's a whole other song about Susan that's called See Her Smile, that's cut from the movie too, in that moment. So in the original play, Therapy is like the third song in the play, like it happens way early. And then there's a whole different subplot, and then there's one before the Superbia workshop. Caressa kisses him on the lips and stuff like that. So there's a whole different subplot with most of him and Susan's conflict is happening over that.
You don't get any of that in the movie. You get like
no
a small percentage, a fraction of that in the movie.
Yeah, which I actually kind of appreciate it. I appreciated that they made it it was his work and Susan was the main conflict, not Caressa and Susan.
Yeah. I prefer to not think of him as a cheating asshole, but just somebody who's overly passionate and can't see past his own dream.
Yeah, and I agree. And it wasn't like that he was cheating. It was just like she kissed him, and more like the emotional, like he liked the attention and stuff like that. I feel like, if that makes sense. But it's like we didn't need that thrown in there. I like to where it's like his main focus is his story, his play, which Superbia was a real play that he wrote and had all these things back and forth. So like most of that stuff that happens in the movie actually happened with him and that suburbia play. And they apparently were going to try to make it into a cartoon in 2000, but apparently there's a book called Boho Days that kind of chronicles some of this. But apparently Jonathan did so many different rewrites of Superbia that what he left are just so many random bits and pieces, and he had always struggled finding a good ending to it, which is why it never got produced, and why even now they've said, people are like, oh, will we ever make that? And they're like, no, because what we were left, if we turned it into a whole cohesive thing, it wouldn't be Jonathan's at that point.
Yeah, kind of
So
taking his genius out of it by like patching it together.
right. Well, and that was one of the things that was really neat with Tick Tick Boom. Even songs that weren't in the original play performance, like the song Swimming, which is when he goes to the pool and he kind of has the revelation for come to your senses and everything. That was one that was cut. It was never performed. But Jonathan Larson's family and libraries that had his work granted Lin-Manuel Miranda access to all of this. So all of the music, all of the songs in the movie were written by Jonathan Larson.
That's
They
good.
had some remix. So all the things, so like the whole Superbia songs from that was actually
There were actual
Jonathan
songs from
Larson's work.
Serbia.
Yep. And like that, the voicemail Stephen Sondheim leaves at the end, that is the actual recording that Stephen Sondheim did actually leave him a voicemail. So that was,
That's
you hear
awesome.
his voice there. Yeah.
That is
Stephen
awesome.
Sondheim, rest in peace. He passed away not that long ago.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're right. I can't remember when it was, but yeah, I think you're right. It's not that long ago.
Yeah, so like little things like that I thought were really cool how they handled it. But I think like I went through a stage, still kind of in it, was just obsessed with Jonathan Larson and his story and everything like that. And so I know all these little details about it. So I think that's part of why I appreciate Tick Tick Boom so much more too. I know all this history and the backstory and all of that stuff that's really interesting to me.
It's funny because I know quite a few people who are normally not musical people who have said that they really enjoy Tick Tick Boom. Like I could not get them to sit down and watch Phantom of the Opera with me. That would never happen. Like they would be anti-musical almost, and have said, you know what, I gave this a shot because I heard great things, and then oh, it's really good. I can't believe I liked it. I don't usually like musicals. To me, that's I don't understand that, because for me there are so many other musicals that I think are way better, just like richer and more content to it. But like that's just my vibe. And it's just not my favorite, but I think it's still good. It has its great qualities, and I think it has great lyrics. I think, you know, the idea of putting his play inside a movie about his life is really cool. And I don't know that there's really been anybody else who's done that. I'm trying to think if there's any other similar plot lines like that. I can't really think of any. If you don't know which I didn't know anything about it going into it, except for it was the guy that wrote Rent. The first time I watched it, I was genuinely confused at times. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Why are we on stage sometimes and why are we not? And why are we narrating to a crowd about a play that's being written, but the movie's not about that play, it's about this, but they're on stage now and now they're not, and he's writing but he's not, and what are we doing? So I had to watch it a couple more times to really understand fully why we kept being taken out of the stage performance versus, I guess maybe I thought, for instance, you go and watch Rent, right? You watch Rent Broadway. If you watch a movie of Rent, it's a recording of the Broadway show, right? So there's no like you can watch that. They did make a movie aside from that, but they didn't put in the movie of Rent somebody performing another show completely different from it. So it was, I guess when I was thinking about it, I thought it was just going to be like a recording of the Broadway show Tick Tick Boom.
Gotcha.
And that's why I went in and was like, I don't know what's happening right now. This is like a live action movie, but is this, I don't know how much of it is fiction. Are they just kind of throwing in random things, or is all of this true? And so I had to do a little research. I had to figure all that out, and I had to watch it a couple of times to truly appreciate and understand a lot of what was happening. But then again, I am blonde, so maybe that won't be everybody's problem when they're watching.
And you still just thought it was meh.
Yeah, like meh.
Yeah, I
What I should do though is I should put it on constant rotation in my car when I'm driving, because that's how I learned to really love musicals. If I listen to the music over and over and over and over again, and I start really listening to the lyrics, and then I connect with the lyrics, and then I memorize the lyrics, that's when I really start to enjoy it. So if I did that,
get that.
we could come back in a month's time and redo this episode, and I'd probably be like gushing over certain lyrics, over certain characters, and it's still new for me, and just not the style that I'm used to or that I particularly enjoy when it comes to musicals. But
Yeah,
that
I get
said,
that.
like again, he was a genius, and his creative passion is unrivaled, I think. So getting LMM choosing to do that one makes sense, because as you said, their passion is almost like on the same level for creating
Yeah.
art and for creating music and creating a show. So I can see why he would relate to Larson and want to kind of put that up on stage and like honor him and sort of appreciate his genius, because it's probably similar to how his brain works, and he probably saw a similarity of his personality to Larson's, and that's what made him be able to produce it or direct it so well, and to see it done correctly and make it really impactful and moving. I think if it was just somebody else on the street that was like not passionate about music, they might not have really been able to capture Larson's true essence, since he's gone and he can't do it himself.
Yeah, I think they chose to lean more into the semi-autobiographical aspect of it. Because in the original play, it's never said it's Jonathan Larson. It's just John. And so even though like a lot of the things are based on real life and autobiographical, it's still fictionalized a bit. And I kind of liked how they start with the narration, and they have Alexandra Shipp, played Susan, her kind of narrating and giving some information to start with it, and then talk about what it led to, how when Superbia was shelved, then the next thing he wrote was Tick Tick Boom, and then he revisited a previously shelved project, which was Rent. So I thought that was really neat how they kind of highlighted some of those things as well. I think another reason why this one I really enjoyed, for months since I watched that No Day But Today documentary on it and first heard about it, I'd looked up and found the Broadway soundtrack. So I had, not the whole thing, I had 3090 and Louder Than Words on my playlist almost constantly since then.
3090 is fun. I like that one.
3090, it's a great way to kick off. Louder Than Words, I feel like, is very, very timely, even. Some of the lines, like it has in it, like, why do we follow leaders that never lead? Why does it take catastrophe to start a revolution when we're so free? Like all of this stuff that it's like, man, he wrote this in the 90s, and so much of this still prevalent today.
Now. Still relevant,
yeah. And it's just, I don't know, I've wanted for a long time and I haven't got it. I want a tattoo here on my wrist. It's a normal thing, but the things I go back and forth, I'd want to get either You Will Be Found from Dear Evan Hansen, because I feel like it's a good, I don't know, kind of, when we talk about that, I'll get into more things. Good reminder. And the other things, either just get Fear or Love, those words tattooed, just from
love,
Fear or Love. They talk about kind of one of the central premises.
Sorry, I thought you said Führer love, like Heil Hitler, Führer, and I was like, that's a good idea, man. I don't think that's good. You should probably not do that.
Slightly problematic.
If you do, I don't think we can continue this fight.
Fear, FEAR space OR space love.
Sorry, go ahead. Now that we've clarified that you don't love Adolf Hitler, continue.
Yes. I will now formally denounce and say I have zero love for Adolf Hitler. I do not support any of his teachings, sayings, anything like that. And he was a racist piece of shit.
I like his mustache.
No, bad mustache. Nothing about him.
Bad stash. Bad.
Bad stash. Yeah, but the fear or love, which is kind of the central premise of the whole play. It starts out with him being kind of the interjection, Michael talking to him. And he's like, are you letting yourself be led by fear or love? And then it's one of the things they go back to, and one of the things they talk about in Louder Than Words, which is the song that closes out the play too. So I don't know. Those are things that stick with me. And I think that's why I enjoy and I'm drawn to musicals so much. Musicals get more of an emotional response and reaction out of me than almost anything else. The storytelling and the emotion and then the music behind it, I find myself able to connect to it very, very easily, and it just kind of speaks to me. So I don't know. I think that could be some of it. Like,
Definitely.
I'm turning 30 this year too. So some of those things, like starting out with 30-90, you just think about jobs, careers, and shit like that. Fuck, I don't. I'm turning 30. I don't love what I do for work. That's not what I dreamed about doing for the rest of my life or whatever.
Hi, Matt's boss. I hope you watch this.
Yeah. And so it's just one of those things you think about, like this. That's why this podcast is something I've kind of wanted to do for a while. It's something that I'm passionate about, something I enjoy talking about, enjoy doing, wanting to do, stepping outside of my comfort zone a little bit and just kind of putting myself out there. So this is kind of my suburbia in a way, if that makes sense. It's something I'm passionate about, want to do.
I gotta say, it's really nice to see this passion coming out of you. I think we had to we need to dig deeper a little bit to get that to come out, because I knew it was in there somewhere, but I have to say it's very refreshing to see you get so worked up about something that you like. I think that's awesome. And I'm just a self-proclaimed word nerd and music nerd. I don't know another word to use for music, but yeah, I have always loved musicals. So when you suggested this idea, I thought it was like, I don't care if anybody else ever watches or listens to this, because it's gonna be fun. And we were doing this anyway before podcast, so we were talking about musicals that we liked, and it was a good way to bond. But I agree with you that music has such an ability to get to trigger emotions that are intended. So if you're an excellent musician or an excellent writer, or I don't know, creator, artist of some sort, you can essentially manipulate people's minds to believe or feel certain things. And that's what I like about it, because I'm a writer. I write for a living, and I've always said that the best part about being a writer is that I can make people feel things that I want them to feel. I can make you feel sad. I can make you feel inspired. I can make you feel happy. I can make you feel nervous. I can, whatever. Just a few words on a piece of paper that you read, if it's written well, if it's written right, should have an effect on you. And I think music just intensifies that, because you can feel it and experience it. So a play is a play. I'll always love plays, but I feel like having music in the play added to it is always going to be making it just that much more awesome.
Agreed.
Unless it's bad music, in which case, fuck off.
Yeah, and we'll get into it eventually, because I want to do all types of musicals on here, even ones that aren't things I necessarily love the style of music. Like, I'm more of a new modern musical type of guy, not the whole singing in the rain type stuff isn't as much for me. I still want to do it. I want us to have debates about it. So we will do things like that. But
we have to get into the ones that we don't like. We can't always just be gushing about everything. Some of them have to be critiques, we have to be some of this.
Yeah, for sure. So
we're the experts here, obviously, so we need to let them know.
Oh, absolutely. I think we should try to wrap it up. Been going for a while, I think. So
think I have anything else to say.
What I was gonna say, what are some last? I have a couple like brief notes that I'm gonna just hit rapid fire.
There's no
The
such
rap.
thing as rapid fire with you, but just FYI, continue.
Oh, I ramble like a motherfucker. I know that, and I feel sorry for everyone listening. I know I do. We discussed that the last time when we're doing the sign
At least I
offs.
don't yawn when you ramble.
I am up at like 5 a.m. every day. I'm an old man. It's after midnight my time now, which I know is after 1 for you. But I yawn sometimes. I can
No,
deal with it.
can't. All right, hit
I
me.
need to breathe.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
I was gonna let you go first.
Oh,
Gentlemen.
Okay. So I was just like gonna hit on a couple little things. Yeah, the tidbit here, a little fun fact. Jonathan Larson in the song, you probably already know this because you're much more of a nerd than I am in this one. But in the song, I think it's No More. They talk about no more taking a shower in the kitchen while your roommate's eating breakfast and you're trying not to get water in his cornflakes, which is awesome. But fun fact, the truth is, and in real life, Jonathan Larson really did live in his apartment. There really was the bathtub shower combination in the kitchen. So that's not even like a made up exaggerated thing. Like he wrote that from real life experience. He was literally having to shower while people were sitting at the table, like right there eating. So that gives you the idea of like this boho life and what it felt like to live there. Like you can glamorize it all you want. Like, boho is the way to be, and it's so rebellious, and we're so like, not in the mainstream. We're our own people. We're unique, but then also you have to like shit and eat in the same room. So they were not living in like an amazing, beautiful flat in New York City that just looks like, I feel like Hollywood always puts people who live in New York like in these enormous flats with like a brick wall, a exposed brick wall, and it's looking over the city of New York City, but then they're like a pizza delivery guy or something. Like, bro, no. This is what it was really like to live in New York. He really did have a shower in his kitchen. I just thought that was hilarious. And it was a real deal.
Yeah. Well, and that song, that Boho Days one, is one that wasn't in the original play, the Tick Tick Boom. It wasn't originally in there. It wasn't part of it. On the Broadway recording soundtrack, it has Jonathan Larson singing it. So it's one of the few recorded pieces of Jonathan Larson actually performing something and singing is that song Boho Days on the original soundtrack. So fun little tidbit about that.
And then I think the only other thing I had in my notes was just like let's see. No, the only other thing I was going to say is that I absolutely loved that they threw in a Jefferson's reference when we were in the movie. When No More, and they just like randomly throw in it and moving on up to the east side. I just love that because I was like, I wonder how many people our age or younger would just have no idea that that's a reference to this old TV show that I watched growing up on TV Land. It was like from the 60s.
Yeah.
But that jingle has always, you can't mistake that jingle because it's nothing else like it. You hear moving on up, and you know exactly like what's Jefferson. So I thought he did a good job of throwing in some like funny little reference, similar to what he did in Hamilton, where he would kind of take it almost out of the traditional musical style and throw in something that's kind of unconventional or more modern and switch it up again, like especially with like Therapy, the song when they make it super quirky and like robotic and funny. I think that he did a good job of doing that. And so like when you watch it, if you know what to look for those, you see all these little like Easter eggs that he's planted from other musicals or from other shows or from references that he likes, that he just likes, in general. So yeah, and that's all I got.
Nice. Okay. I've got a handful. We're going to go through them quick. I thought it was very interesting in the song Johnny Can't Decide. The original lyrics are Susan Wants a Family, and they changed it to Susan Wants a Life with Me. So just like a minor thing, but I thought that was interesting. They changed it from, instead of, oh, she wants a family, making it more matriarch hurdy to more like she wanted to go there for her dancing and things like that and teaching. So okay, I don't know what the fuck that was. We'll see if the mic's picked up. There's some kind of technical thing. I don't know.
Oh, you
If the mics
forgot
did pick
to.
it up, stay
You forgot
tuned at the
to.
end of the episode. We'll throw that in there. But
You
yeah,
forgot to feed the little green gnome in your computer, and he got angry and
fucking
started
apparently, I don't know.
fucking shit.
So yeah, the Susan Wants a Family thing. That Lin-Manuel Miranda's dad is a bellhop desk clerk in the No More sequence. He is also in the Heights. So Lin always throws him little fun things in there.
Oh yeah, a little
Yeah.
brief moment there.
Mm-hmm. And then I think that was the main things. Oh, I thought we didn't talk about it, but the whole thing when he goes to Michael's company to in the focus group and he's sitting there with them, and then they're coming up with things and they're just throwing out all these fucking cliche buzzwords and shit. And he's like, I could get used to this making money. Everyone's worshiping him, and then they tell him they're like, it's a chemical base, like the product and all the stuff and what it's supposed to be. And then they're like, it's like free oil, and the other one's like oil free. And he's just like, that's the same thing she said. She's like, I switched the words around. Like that. I thought that was fucking funny.
And then he goes, I got it. I've got it. Oh, this is it. I got it. Yeah, sure. We want to hear. What is it? What is it? He goes, Chubstitute.
Chubstitute. God, I love it.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Michael. Chubstitute? You said chubstitute?
Yeah. So those were my last things. Awesome. I really enjoyed this all the way. I'm not exaggerating. I think I've watched it probably at least 6 times. And listened to the soundtrack more than that. It's on regular rotation now. My favorites are 3090, Johnny Can't Decide, and Louder Than Words. Therapy gets an honorary mention thrown in there too. But
I think my faves are Sunday and Therapy.
Yeah.
Did I write another one down? I can't remember. Let's see. I mean, I love that No More is so similar to Rent, so I think that's why I liked that one. It's just a really.
I do love No More too.
What?
I do love No More.
It's good. It's really
Captain
good.
Kangaroo, and they're like prancing through the lobby. It's great.
Oh, that's awesome. So I think we covered it.
Yeah. So
what are we gonna do next? We tell them little tease for next time.
Yeah, that was our Tick Tick Boom discussion. I recommend watching it. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, it's free. It is 2 hours long, so it is a little bit lengthy.
Because if you have Netflix, then you're paying for Netflix.
Well,
so
true. Which they keep raising their prices, so there's all that fun shit. But yeah, next we are going to. Tease talking about the documentary on Jonathan Larson. We're going to shelve that for now, and we are going to discuss West Side Story next. It is now out on Disney Plus. The Steven Spielberg remake primarily. We'll probably throw in some discussion on the classic as well, but primarily the new one, the 2021 Spielberg remake version, which, spoiler alert, I loved. We will discuss that next.
Now we have nothing to talk about next time.
Oh shit.
Stole all our thunder.
Oh, lo siento. So we'll go there next. And stay tuned. Subscribe to the YouTube. It helps us out. Throw some comments on there. What you like. Hell, what you didn't like. We are just starting this out. We want to improve the channel. We want to improve our podcast.
Just give us a good roast if you feel like it.
Don't do it too much. I'm this close to the edge. As Lincoln Park says, and I'm about to break. And so don't be too mean.
You can't handle it, but I can handle it. You can roast me.
That's right. DM at Rayleigh Juice on Instagram. And so, yeah, stay tuned. We're going to be posting in the future. We're going to try to more regularly post different clips and videos in between episodes. We know one a month, it can be a while to wait between episodes and kill some steam. So we want to throw you guys some tidbits, some treats in between. So subscribe to Instagrams where we're most active. I'm trying to get better at the Twitter. and the tweet and all that fun stuff. Instagram is just the easiest and most user friendly and best for engagement, I feel like. So Instagram's where we're thriving most. We're posting pretty regular updates on there. So follow us, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time for West Side Story. And since we're waiting a month between episodes, go down much more than once.
For much longer.
For much longer. Between that.
Thanks for hanging out.
That's everyone's mission. For the next episode, you need to go down the length of time of this movie. So go down a total of 2 hours before the next episode drops. And then you'll know your success. So.
We approve.
That's right. All right.
Cool. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace.
All right. So Rayleigh and I decided, mainly I decided, I bullied Rayleigh into doing it. We are going to attempt to do an a cappella version of Therapy, which no one wants to hear, but you're going to listen to it anyways.
We're gonna do it anyway.
Disclaimer, neither one of us are professional singers, which is why you don't want to hear this. But
and I've only seen this production twice, so
that's right.
I don't listen to the music, so I don't really know the song at all. That's what's exciting about it. It's gonna be fun.
That's right. You might get 10 seconds of this. But we're gonna go. I have the lyrics. Rayleigh has the lyrics. And we're gonna go. Whenever you're ready, start us out.
Me. Okay, I'm ready. Are you saying we can't talk?
Are you saying we're not talking?
What are you saying?
What are you saying? I'm saying I feel bad that you feel bad about me feeling bad about you feeling bad about what I said, about what you said, about me not being able to share a feeling.
If I thought that what you thought was that I hadn't thought about sharing my thoughts, then my reaction to your reaction to my reaction would have been more revealing.
I was afraid that you'd be afraid if I told you that I was afraid of intimacy. If you don't have a problem with my problem, maybe the problem's simply codependency.
Yes, I know that. Now you know that. I didn't know that. You didn't know that. When I said no, I meant yes. And now I know that you knew that. You knew you adored me. No, guys, I didn't do it.
We're going to call it there. It's not 4 a.m. I do have therapy tomorrow. It is too late to screw.
So let's just
on that now. All right. That has been Tick Tick Boom. I need to stop saying there.